It was great being able to really experience the car, being able to drive it, ride in it as a passenger as well, and really go in depth. Very, very smooth ride, I thought. Gorgeous exterior styling. I love this fastback design. The interior, that new digital dash, really clean and crisp display. I was really, really impressed with that.
Welcome to iDriveSoCal, the podcast all about mobility from the automotive capital of the United States, Southern California. Tom Smith here with the good professor, Mr. Clinton Kwan. Say hello, Clinton.
Hi, Tom.
Hey, hey, hey. Today's podcast, we actually had a lot of fun. Did we just do this yesterday, right?
It was just yesterday.
Okay, so just yesterday, we went out to our partners in the Los Angeles suburb of Ontario, California. That would be, of course, Ontario Volkswagen. And we were out there for what a lot of Volkswagen hardcore VWers, so to speak, would love to have experienced. And that was the rollout of the Arteon. So it wasn't a ride and drive for the public. It was like their sales consultants, their salespeople's training, essentially, from the factory. So they brought an Arteon out, which again, the Arteon is replacing the CC. And the professor and I got to experience the training, go through the car from literally front to back and drive it. And they don't even know exactly when it is going to be on the showroom for sale. They don't have pricing yet. We know the trim levels. We're going to share those with you. But the Arteon is the new Volkswagen flagship. And it's a sharp car. It's a really cool car. And experiencing, thank you, Ontario Volkswagen. Thank you, Earl Reed, the general manager out there, Randy Helcom, our buddy and main point person, rhelcom at OntarioVW.com. If you, the podcast listener, needs anything, Randy is our go-to, and we'll post his phone number on the iDriveSoCal page for this post. We'll include Randy's phone number too, but. The Arteon training was really cool. We got to drive it, and the factory representative only knew this. Fall is when it was going to be available, right, for in showrooms.
Yes.
So it's one of those things. It's a moving target, as often happens with rollouts of new vehicles. Yes, it's coming. It's a certainty. The exact date is still an uncertainty, which is quite common, right?
Yes, it is.
So this was my first experience of such. Yours?
A dealer training like this, yes, this was definitely my first experience.
Now, we're going to do this as our Arteon review, but we both experienced the training. We both drove the vehicle, but we're going to do this podcast. Well, we're just going to do it, but we're going to start it as if it's our regular vehicle review of the professor's analysis, and then I'll chime in. I think for sure we're gonna both have our own top threes though at the end.
Yes, well, we'll probably have our own top threes.
Okay. So, Professor, take us around. Well, actually, first take us through the day. What'd you think of it?
Well, this was, as I mentioned earlier, this is the first time I've done something like this, so I really enjoyed it, and I got to really experience the vehicle in depth, and I got using the app as well. I think that was helpful as well.
Yeah.
For the training to get more detailed information on the vehicle, and it was interesting also doing the quiz.
Yeah. So they gave us, and that's just for the sales. That's just for the internal Volkswagen folks, right? That app wasn't going to be made available to the.
I believe that's only internally for sales.
So basically, as part of the training, we took a quiz in the beginning and a quiz at the end. And did you take the quiz in the beginning? You came in a couple minutes late.
Yes, I did.
So you did take the quiz in the beginning?
Yes.
What'd you get?
I'm trying to remember. I think I got 3 out of 5.
Really?
Yes.
Wow. Okay.
Well, I knew some info already about the vehicle.
Okay. So. I didn't, and I was influenced by someone who shouted out a number that they said they were really certain of for one of the answers.
Was that the number of trims?
It was.
What was your guess?
My guess was 3, but I think it was Zach was like, it's 5, I guarantee it's 5. I'm like,
So
all right, I'll go with 5.
you did have the right answer.
I went with 5, but if I had picked, I eventually my quiz I got 1 out of 5, but had I picked 3 trim levels instead of 5 trim levels, yes, I would have gotten 2 out of 5.
You would have doubled your score.
Right. But I got 5 out of 5 after the training, right? So I knocked it out of the park then. But it was neat. So what else did you think? Take me through it.
Well, yeah, it was great being able to really experience the car, being able to drive it, ride in it as a passenger as well, and really go in depth, looking underneath the hood as well, and checking out the cargo space, because this is a fastback design, so it has a lot more cargo space than a traditional sedan, almost double the amount of cargo space, about 28 cubic feet of cargo space. And
that's with the back seats up. You can put those back seats down, and I don't know, you're probably going to double the cargo space, or maybe add another
maybe 40% more.
40%, okay.
Yeah,
but it's huge cargo space.
Oh yes, there's plenty of cargo space.
And one of the things that the factory rep pointed out also was that there's a place they've just inside the trunk area. Is it called a trunk area when it's like when it's like that, or is it a fastback area? It's still a trunk.
You could still call it a trunk.
All right, I'm going to call it the trunk area. So just inside there, closest to the inside wall, like the license plate, the inside and where the license plate would be, they've made it so that, and I'm not a golfer myself, I have golf clubs, but whatever. Yeah. They've made it so that it's extra wide in that first area for golf clubs to sit there comfortably, which makes sense because it's a flagship vehicle for the brand, and it's a premium vehicle for the brand, and it's definitely a executive's vehicle among other people, but that's the level that it plays to, and it's a very attractive car. I mean, I think, well, you came in a minute late, but I as soon as I saw it, I was like, oh, that reminds me of the A7.
Yeah.
Personally.
Well, this vehicle, it's smaller than an Audi A7, but it's bigger than an Audi A5 Sportback, and it's in that same style, same type of design. You could call it a fastback, you could call it a Sportback, and the entire back lifts up. So that's why you're getting that additional space. But basically, it's geared for someone who's looking for a vehicle with a little bit more style than a traditional sedan.
And it is very stylish.
Yes.
Bernadette mentioned that type of style as a Grand Coupe. Would you call that a Grand Coupe?
Well, that's what BMW calls it for their 4 Series.
Okay, so
they call it a Grand Coupe. Yeah.
Right.
Yes. Yeah. So there's a lot.
I almost said coupe, but I just
there's a lot of different names. You could call it a Grand Coupe. You could call it a Sportback. You could call it a Fastback.
Okay. All meaning the same. Now, you mentioned that first thing that I really thought, outside of the styling of the vehicle, both outside and inside, but then some of the other highlights on the outside that I took away was the
hood line.
I'm gonna get to the front.
Okay.
First, still on the back, the functionality of the air kick to function the
Yes.
Sportback.
That's
actually
a great
works
feature.
well. Yeah,
yes, it does.
It works well because a lot of those I have a mid-sized sedan that's not one of those manufacturers. It's something else, and the touchless hatch open and close function is whatever. It's got gremlins. It's like, yeah, it it worked well at the dealership. I think that was the last time it worked well, but. So that was cool. And then the going around to the front, yes, the hood line. How do you even describe that?
Well, this is how I would describe it. The hood line blends into the character line of the vehicle.
Okay, but then on a more specific level, the the hood almost to me, if we're in the UK, it's a bonnet, right?
Yes.
And so the hood almost is a legit bonnet, or it's almost like a toupee because the sides of the hood literally become part of each quarter panel.
That is correct, yes. I think I've also heard it described as a clamshell design.
Okay, I like that. That
Yeah.
works. That works. Yeah. And the LED lighting standard on all 3 trim levels, which we might as well throw out those trim levels now.
SE, the base.
Yep.
SCL,
Yep.
mid-level trim.
Yep.
And then the top of the line trim is the SCL premium.
And our line available across all 3 trims, if I'm remembering right?
The R-Line package is available on all 3 trims. That is correct.
And the thing that impressed both of us that day, yesterday,
Yes.
God, it feels like so long ago. Having an 11-month-old at home, I tell you, it's like, oh, that was just 3 hours ago? I thought that was last week. The fact that, so it has a leatherette on the SE, but then the upgraded Napa pinhole leather.
Yeah, the Napa leather is standard on the mid-level SCL trim and the top of the line SCL premium trim.
And that is a nice, supple leather.
Yes. Yeah, I love Napa leather. I have that in my car as well.
Yeah.
And I don't know if I could ever go back.
Yeah, it's that's a nice thing to have.
And it's great that Volkswagen offers that as standard on their mid-level trim. I think most manufacturers would probably only have that on their top of the line trim.
It seems they're purposely trying to dance up the new flagship,
Yes.
which makes sense, and they're doing a good job of it.
Yeah. In terms of exterior design and interior design, they've really stepped it up from the CC.
And again,
And I guess they're not really calling it a replacement as a completely brand new vehicle.
And again, thank you to our friends out at Ontario Volkswagen, Earl Reed, Randy Helcom, Shant Bastian, the whole crew out there. It was always a great time to go out to Ontario Volkswagen and check in with the guys and drive whatever it is we're driving or cover whatever stories we're covering. But this was really neat because, again, this Arteon's not even going to be available until, quote unquote, fall.
Yes. Which
we're here, kind of, right?
Which could be this weekend, but it's probably more like October or November.
I mean, hey, but that's the exciting thing,
Yes.
right? I mean, that makes it really cool for us too.
Yes.
And I think, for the Volkswagen fans, they will not be disappointed. And I think this car is going to bring some people to the brand.
Absolutely. I think there's a lot of people, as you know, with the Audi A5, the Sportback sales have just increased dramatically. And this is the first time they've offered the S5 Sportback in the U.S. And I think also with the Arteon, it's really going to increase sales. And for people who are looking for an A5 Sportback or an A7 who might not be able to afford that, they can get that pretty much the same style of car for a lot less. But you're also getting something that's very, very similar to the Audi vehicles.
Yeah, it's if you're like me, you're a value buyer, and the badge is not that big of a deal. This is and hey, let's be real. I mean, the Volkswagen badge is nothing to sneeze at all.
Yeah.
It's just not an Audi.
Yes.
But it's a darn nice car. I mean, they did it right. One of the other things on the side of the vehicle that they were showing us is, what do you call that, where the glass on the windows, the window doesn't have a frame around the glass.
Oh yeah, it's frameless.
So in many cases, that causes for a loud cabin or a window that shakes over time, right? The padding softens up or hardens up rather, and the window starts to shake. But actually what happens is when you, and I think there's a name for it, you might know it, I don't, but when you shut the car door, the window automatically goes up a little bit and tucks itself in, closes a little bit more, sealing better and creating a very quiet cabin.
Yeah, that's a great feature as well.
And then speaking of quietness and noise, it has the, what's it called, Dyne Audio?
Oh yes, it has the audio system, the same type of audio that's
on the Bugatti.
in the Bugatti.
Which Bugatti's in the family, right?
Yes, and it's part of the Volkswagen family.
But yeah, the factory rep, she's like, yep, same sound system
It's
as in the Bugatti.
Danish sound system, if I remember correctly, right?
I think you're right.
Yes.
Dyne Audio, I believe. DYNAUDIO, I think.
I think so.
And audiophiles out there will be, and actually we're podcasting, so we should know this probably. We should be audiophiles ourselves, or I should be at least. But the quite a sound system. I don't know if they did. We went on separate test drives,
yes.
but
it is quite a sound system.
They turned it on quite low, and I have pretty sensitive ears. I actually ruptured an eardrum many years ago, and my hearing's never been quite right. It's just weird in certain areas, but wow, whew! I was in the back seat and they turned it on. It was still pretty low, but it was so crisp and so clear, and the bass and all the ranges, the highs and the lows, everything was like, wow, this is impressive. And the factory rep also made a point of saying, hey, there's all the settings for, classical or jazz or rock or whatever, and even one for podcasts. She was playing to the crowd a little bit. But so let's see. So, and in the front, because this is a German vehicle, a safety feature which is pretty interesting. And they said this is a very unlikely event, But behind basically the middle part of the front grille, there is a impact tube. For if there's ever an impact with a pedestrian, that impact tube pops the bonnet, pops the hood up a little bit, so that should someone, pedestrian fall on top of the hood, it cushions the blow, and they're not falling on what's right underneath the hood, which is the motor, and that shows really that it's a European vehicle, because there's a lot more car and pedestrian or car and bicycle traffic sharing traffic ways, right?
Yes.
Than there is here in the United States. But a great safety feature nonetheless, especially as our cities incorporate more and more into the future of their own mobility, whether that be more bike lanes or encouraging people to walk more, or
making it more pedestrian friendly,
or the crazy scooters that are all over the place, and who knows what's going to happen to them. So I thought that was pretty interesting too. Just a gorgeous car on the outside. The moonroof, nice panoramic, big moonroof, which was impressive as well. Am I missing anything on the outside? This was supposed to be kind of your review that I was going to chime in on, but I kind of feel like it might even be 60-40 at this point. It might be my review more.
No, that's perfectly fine, Tom.
Okay, thank you. I appreciate that, Professor.
I think you've covered it all on the exterior. Yes.
Okay. So on the inside, I think I've already sung that praises too, but the sound, awesome, supple, beautiful, beautiful, beautiful Napa leather. Oh,
the digital dashboard.
Can't miss that one. Gotta love the digital dash, which is totally customizable.
And that would be, I believe, it's the SEL and the SEL Premium.
And heated, ventilated.
Yes.
Front seats.
Heated and ventilated seats in the front, and then
heated rear seats.
Heated rear seats.
Driver's massaging seat.
Yes.
little lower spine rolling massage while I was doing my test drive was actually quite pleasant.
That's not a feature you see in a lot of cars.
No,
especially not at that price point.
Yeah, well, we don't know what the price point is yet.
Yes.
Again, we know that, but generally
we have an estimate.
Yeah, I mean, the last car that I was in was like one of my a buddy's 550S AMG that had it. Now that had it on driver and passenger, but I mean that's $100,000 car, right?
Yeah, I've also driven a Continental, a Black Label edition, but again, that car is about $75,000.
The new one?
Yes, the brand new one. Correct.
I'm not a huge fan of that styling. But I am a huge fan of the styling of the Volkswagen Arteon. And, well, okay, so one other thing about the Arteon. The name Arteon. Were you there for that part of it?
I'm trying to remember art, and then there's the second part. I'm trying to remember.
You know what? Now I just forgot it too. Art is the first part, and then I think style and luxury, I think, is what Eon means.
I think so.
I think.
In German, is it in German? Right? Must be.
I almost want to say it's in.
Oh, it's in another language?
Maybe like an Asian thing or something.
Oh, it could be. Yeah.
Boy, okay, so this part of the podcast could get cut. Okay, so and then the drive, right? It is all the safety features, right? All the tech safety features. They call it is it the DCC or the BCC?
DCC.
The DCC, which stands for
dynamic. What was that?
Chassis control. Dynamic chassis
yes,
control.
You're right. Dynamic
Yes.
chassis control.
So, and that is going to help with the overall performance of the vehicle, the control of the vehicle, but also the roll, right? Vehicle roll as you're cornering.
Yes.
And that was a pretty cool feature as well. That's something Volkswagen's becoming more and more known for, right?
Yes.
The drive.
Very, very smooth ride, I thought.
Lots of pickup.
Yeah.
Lots of torque. Surprising amount of torque.
Well, it's a 2-liter 4-cylinder turbo, 268 horsepower, 258 pound-feet of torque, and it was very, very smooth.
With 4 adults in it on my test drive, and you can have 5 in there.
Yes.
The fifth, you know what? The passengers in the back on the left and right. It's not a kind of indented bucket kind of situation, so that, but it's still comfortable.
Yes.
But you can still have somebody in the middle if you want, or you can have the armrest down in the middle. Either way, you're comfortable. And the one that we drove was all-wheel drive.
Yeah. 4Motion. That's what Volkswagen calls it.
Great smooth ride. Lots of pickup for something when I'm test driving with 4 adults in it. I love the car. I can't wait to see what the price points are.
Yeah.
But we'll find out in the fall.
Yeah, we'll find out soon. I'm sure Volkswagen's going to make an announcement very soon if it's coming out in the fall.
Yep. All right, Professor. We got to go do top 3.
Top 3. Well, I got to go with the gorgeous exterior styling. I love this fastback design.
Yep.
But it's beautiful all around. Very, very clean lines. Love the front of the car as well. The grille. I think it's very distinctive. Second, I would have to go with the interior, that new digital dash. Mm-hmm. Really clean and crisp display. I was really, really impressed with that. And then third, I would have to go with the ride. Really, really smooth. That 2-liter turbocharged 4-cylinder engine delivers plenty of power and torque.
Okay. So I agree with everything, but my number one is going to be storage space.
Yeah.
That
I noticed that right away. It's quite impressive.
When back in the day when we I remember taking a buddy's 1971 Impala 2-door, which was I think about 28 feet long. And one or two of us would drive into the drive-in theater, right? And about 8 people would be in the trunk because you only pay for the amount of people that are sitting in the car, right?
Yeah.
But this one made me think like, for a drive-in, I bet you could get a few people back there.
You probably could.
So I don't mean to diminish how much I like all these other elements of the car, but that was just impressive. Like, wow, this thing's got plenty.
I noticed that right
space.
away when she opened the back.
Plenty of space.
Yes.
Like trip to Home Depot kind of space. So that. And then number 2 for me is going to be the interior. The styling and the styling, luxury, and ergonomics. I'll throw the tech in there too, which is kind of cheating. But And then my third is also going to be the exterior styling. That is just a gorgeous, gorgeous ride. And again, that is that's a 19, right?
Yes, it would be a 2019.
19. So the 2019 Volkswagen Arteon from our friends at Ontario Volkswagen. Thanks again, guys, for having us out for this. Obviously, it was a special treat for Clinton and I. This was one of our longest podcast vehicle reviews we've ever recorded. We're ticking at 24 minutes right now. By the time we edit this, I don't know what it's going to wind up being, but this is one of our longest for sure. Thank you again to Ontario Volkswagen, Earl Reed, Randy Halcomb, Shant Bashian. Awesome. Love you guys. Thanks for having us out. And the Volkswagen Arteon, I tell you, it's going to attract a lot of people outside of the Volkswagen brand. It is, I'm guessing, going to be a tremendous value. And again, you got the SE, you got the SEL, you got the SEL Premium. Professor, you good?
Yes.
All right. And I'm good too. Go to our friends at Ontario Volkswagen. Thanks again to you guys out at Ontario Volkswagen. Thanks to you, my good friend, the professor. For iDriveSoCal, I'm Tom Smith. Thank you for listening.